Good morning. It's me, Pearl, from Pearl in the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And we are here today to look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies inside of ourselves. Understanding that whatever state we find this energy in, we can expect to see that reflected back to us from our interactions with others, in our external environment. And if we want to see shifts and changes, we really need to do that work to shift and change inside of ourselves. One of the ways that we can do that is by looking at the things that are blocking us, the obstacles that are in our way, and removing them, looking at what it's going to take to remove it. So, for today's reading and every Wednesday, we're going to look at the obstacle for divine feminine, divine masculine, and the different ways in which they can process and move through that. And then we will release and rebuild on Friday. So, thank you for being here with me this morning. And let's get started. I think we're just going to start with divine feminine today. Top of the deck, overall headspace for divine feminine energy is the Seven of Wands in reverse. And this is so the general energy that we're looking at for what is surrounding her obstacle. So in the headspace, the Seven of Wands in reverse, and we read heart space at the same time for obstacles removed, we have the Star in reverse. So divine feminine is really struggling with feeling honestly like giving up, not really wanting to keep fighting. She's feeling like she's been really fighting against herself almost, and she doesn't want to do this anymore. The Star in reverse is about these feelings of things still being hidden and not coming to light. And it's really, she's really struggling. She's really struggling to remain hopeful, but it's challenging. So the general obstacle surrounding her is this feeling. I think there's a feeling of inertia of having had to stand and fight and just really hoping that this fighting is over, that this battling is over, um, and that there can be some kind of a peace. She's got a lot of hope for that. So that's what's surrounding the obstacle. The obstacle itself, so we have the Seven of Wands in the headspace, and here we have the Eight of Wands as the obstacle in the headspace, and the Lovers in reverse in the heart space. So divine feminine's obstacle is having to do, I believe, with fears of going with the flow, of moving forward, and not having her focused movement be towards this union, this manifestation that she has been seeking. So, whatever physical manifestation that she's been after, she is really feeling um, that going with this flow and moving away from where she had wanted to be is very difficult for her. You can see the positioning of the cards. This is where the motion is going. And this maybe past relationship or fears about not being able to be in some kind of a union or the union that she thought she was going to have or something. This is a real obstacle with her. She can feel this motion like pulling her away, and I feel like there's this feeling that she thought that this was where she was supposed to be. It's really difficult for her to feel that being pulled away from whatever it was that she loved and kind of going to this next place and this motion away. So let's look at where did this obstacle originate? All right. So we have the Two of Swords in the headspace, and we have the Six of Swords in the heart space. So this obstacle of this feeling of being blocked, she feels like she can't move on basically from this past relationship. And it comes from this being in this standstill energy. Um, Standing here with our blindfold on and refusing to see that it is time to move on. It is time to embrace this transformation that comes from these lessons that we have learned and that are helping us go from where we were to where we want to be. And it is really difficult for her to face this situation. And she's, instead of making any kind of decision to move on, she's just been waiting to sort of see what she should do next, which in some cases is good, but in this case is causing this blocked feeling because the motion is pulling her forward. It was pulling her away from this past, right? There's her past, here it is. And the motion is pulling her away, and she's standing there with a blindfold on, just really unwilling to take that step away. So, how is this currently manifesting in the 3D? Well, we are getting the King of Wands in reverse in the headspace, and we are getting the Nine of Cups in reverse in the heart space. So she's not taking any action. Towards her wish fulfillment, or she stopped taking action. Maybe she stopped trying to force things. There are issues with her ego, kind of struggling with her ego. And when we get the Nine of Cups upright or in its reverse in a reading, we know that there is going to be wish fulfillment here. So we know she's going to get through this obstacle, but it's currently manifesting as a fear that she's not going to get her wish, which is to have this divine masculine energy, this action-oriented energy of this masculine that's going to just rush forward, following his desires, allowing his passion to fuel his romance, bringing enlightenment, really looking towards the eternal nature of the connection. I'm struggling today. Bear with me. So she's really fearing in this present moment that she will be able to achieve this wish. We're also seeing that there could be a specific iteration that's being incredibly selfish right now. By not taking action, by not communicating, she's experiencing this pretty ego-based energy, the masculine not taking any action, which is sort of a selfish behavior that comes from fear. So, what will help remove it? I love when we get this. This is one of those things that's like, what will help remove it? And it's like, remove it. But we're getting the Five of Swords in reverse, and we're getting the Eight of Pentacles in reverse. So, what will help remove this obstacle, this resistance to this flowing and just kind of focusing more on the self and leaving behind this fixation on union, what would help her honestly is if she would not allow herself to feel defeated with this fear that she's not going to get this wish fulfillment. And instead, really keep fighting. And this Eight of Pentacles in reverse is just like, keep working on it. Like, don't stop just because of this inertia or this inaction. It's like, Don't be defeated by it. Keep working. Keep working on this. I think it will also help if she might have been using her craft or what she's working on. She might have been using this to sort of distract her from doing that work of moving on. And she might have been telling herself, like, once I finish whatever it is that I'm working on, um, then I will be able to see my manifestation. And so instead of kind of going and dealing with the mental struggle that's been going on, she's sort of like defeated by that and focuses on her work instead and isn't really doing the healing of the wounds that need to take place that she's received from those swords. So really kind of just doing the work. Who or what should I release from my past to move on? So Divine Feminine is getting the Two of Pentacles in the headspace in reverse and the Ten of Cups in the heart space upright. So Divine Feminine needs to throw out any imbalanced relationships. So any situations where she is giving and not receiving anything, she needs to get rid of it. She needs to release this and move on. She has created in this Ten of Cups, she's got this spiritual fulfillment. There's also a behavior here where she's not choosing to follow her spiritual fulfillment. And that's another aspect that really needs to be released. Like just sort of refusing to choose spiritual fulfillment, instead being focused on material fulfillment. But if there was any past relationship, right, this Lover's in reverse, that she thought was going to bring her this happiness, and really has just brought with it a lot of imbalance, and she needs to release that. Then we're getting, what can I learn from this current pause? So while we are paused before this obstacle, what can I learn? We're getting the Queen of Pentacles in the headspace and the Hierophant in the heart space. So the Queen of Pentacles in the headspace is really this feeling of abundance, prosperity, like a protected endeavor, creativity. So she's and it's learning independence for herself. So she's learning basically how to have and manage and nurture and care for her prosperity and abundance. And with the Hierophant, she is learning how. I think it's interesting. I haven't looked at this. I'm using the Prisma Visions tarot, and the Hierophant in this image is very interesting. But it has these lilies which keep coming up. I keep seeing lilies, so there's like purity and innocence there. And she's learning really to kind of pay attention to her higher level relationships and to come into a sacred union in the self where you can have whatever physical manifestations outside of self because you feel whole within self. So this is a place where you feel your highest calling, you're honoring your highest calling, and it's a protected, like you feel protected in pursuing this. So she's developing this faith and this trust in herself, in her connection to the divine, and in her responsibility, in the authority that her calling has, and her mission has. So that's what she's learning, which is a beautiful lesson to learn. So if you can have gratitude for this obstacle, which has helped you to stay in this place, and level up here so that you can move on to the next point. And then what can I look forward to once the obstacle is removed? Oh my God. Okay. You're getting in the headspace, the Ten of Swords, which is kind of a rough card to look at, to be like, well, this is what I have to look forward to if I remove this obstacle. Yes, if you remove the obstacle, which is to release this resistance to going with the flow and moving away from this past relationship, then what you will have is an ending here. An ending, but interestingly, the heart space is showing the Queen of Pentacles in reverse, which we just got as the lesson that we were learning, but in its upright position. So I think that what you have is, honestly, the message is that there will be this ending, right? This something will die, which will allow something else to be reborn. So it could be the end of a separation, but there's also going to be this urge to protect what you learned in that last iteration. So there might be feelings of overprotectiveness, um, and you'll really need a lot of nurturing and a lot of self-love to get through the way that it's going to feel to end something like this, whether that is to have been in separation and to end that and move into this next phase where you have to maintain your independence while being in union, or if you're going to be choosing to focus on the self and self-love in order to turn this star around, right? So that you can be in the fullness of that light. Excuse me. So it's that then you'll I can't remember how I was saying that. Oh, becoming independent. So coming into the fullness of being a star, of shining in your own life, of being fully revealed. And there might be some aspects that feel a bit like a betrayal. Like you might feel a bit like you're betraying someone in this process of having to go with the flow and step away and move away from a connection. But and that might kind of cause you to go into this over mothering, over nurturing energy. But remember, the thing that you have to release is that tendency to put this imbalance, to participate in an imbalanced connection with someone. So it's really a message. Usually, what do I have to look forward to? Well, you have an ending to look forward to. Something that has been bothering you or something that has been problematic is ending, but you do have to be cautious with that. Your heart has to be cautious of being fearful and being too attached to this, because this is a stuck energy too when we see it upright. So there's warnings here about attachment, but a 10 is a completion. So that's why when we see the 10, it can mean the end of separation, because this is what has been happening. But this 10 is like, it is over now. The next step is like that page energy that's coming. Something new, right? The Page of Swords, curiosity about a new development, something like that. So don't despair over that card being your outcome. That card is your freedom from where you have been stuck in the standstill. All right, let's go and look at you, Divine Masculine. I'm scared today. Scared for both of you. This is a heavy kind of reading a little bit. All right, top of the deck for the headspace, the overall energy, we have the Magician in reverse, and the heart space, we have the Four of Cups upright. So this is the energy surrounding Divine Masculine's obstacle. This is manipulation here with the Magician in reverse. it's like a refusal to co-create. I just see 822 here on the clock. Refusal to co-create, and a tendency towards puppeteering and manipulation. And then we have the Four of Cups, which is just being paused. And if you can see, if this isn't too blurry, you can see the look on his face. It is like almost serene. It gives me the feeling of like if I'm thinking about something that I want to happen and I'm like that's going to be good. He kind of has this look on his face. In this Four of Cups, all four cups are here. We don't see any offer coming or any offer being refused. So it's like the energy surrounding this obstacle is divine masculine is sort of he's realizing, he's having this realization that he has been manipulative and that he has been just sort of like making his own world on his own, and like he has this fantasy of how he wants things to be, and he's right here like in himself, like all into it, and then puppeteering to try to create this, while in the meantime not taking any offers from the divine or not even giving anything, but just sitting here fully enmeshed in this fantasy. And that's the energy surrounding his obstacle, and his obstacle is very interesting. In the 10, I don't know why I said that. In the headspace, we have the sun. And in the heart space, we have the Eight of Pentacles, which we already saw for Divine Feminine in reverse as something that would help her. So Divine Masculine is blocked right now. His obstacle is that Divine Feminine's happiness. Ooh, this is a couple of layers. So this card, this sun card, first of all, it's a super auspicious card, and I keep seeing it. It keeps coming up in other readings that I'm seeing, and it's beautiful. It's like enlightenment. Everything is coming to light. Nothing can be hidden or kept in the dark when the sun is out. All things come to light. And so I do think that part of his obstacle has to do with bringing this divine feminine into the light. We know she's over here feeling in her heart space that she's not being revealed. So there's this. So his obstacle is allowing this feminine energy to be fully illuminated, fully revealed before himself, before all. It's just, he's also associating his own happiness with the divine feminine. Instead of developing his own inner divine feminine, this Eight of Pentacles is so interesting. What's really interesting is, as you know, or maybe if you've not been here before, I have a lot of decks, and part of the process of me channeling messages is choosing the decks in the morning, because those decks will influence my messages. Incidentally, if you want to send me more, there is a link in the description box below for sending me some of the decks I'm calling in, so you can change up the imagery and help support me here on Tuned in Tarot. I do appreciate the decks I have received from you all. Thank you very much. So with this, I have a lot of decks that I could have chosen today, and I kind of do a thing. They're all sort of out, like in their boxes, and I kind of do like a scan, and if my eye is really drawn to one, then that's usually what I'll pick. That's what I did today. And we ended up with the Cosmic Tarot and the Prisma Visions Tarot. Both of these images show divine feminine energy working, and actually both of them were in reverse. And they didn't have to show that, because the Eight of Pentacles usually shows a masculine energy, honestly, and these are not decks that are like inherently one way or the other. So it is very interesting that we just happened upon this synchronicity. And so we're seeing the block for divine masculine is that he's just really resistant to working on bringing the divine feminine energy into the light, And there's a fear there that divine feminine cares more about her work and her manifestation than she might care about his own happiness. And so this is one of the reasons why he's having a difficult time. Um, and divine feminine, focusing less on your work is one of the things that will help remove this obstacle that you have in this defeated energy towards this masculine. So the feminine energy has been fixated on creating something, and that fixation for her distracts her from doing the work of fully illuminating the feminine energy. So you can see this full circle inside of the self going on right now. So lots of interesting aspects there to that obstacle. Seeking your happiness in someone else, resisting fully illuminating, resisting doing the work it takes to bring the feminine to the forefront, because it's going to take a lot of work to do that. So resisting that. All right. So let's say, who or what should I release from my past? Oh, no, sorry, wrong thing. Where did the block originate? Let's do that first. So this block originated in the headspace. We have the Queen of Swords upright. And in the heart space, we have the Two of Pentacles, which we already saw as something divine feminine has needed to release. So look at this synchronicity. Divine feminine has to release, first of all, not choosing her spiritual fulfillment, but choosing material fulfillment over spiritual fulfillment. So that's the first thing. The second thing that she needs to release in this aspect is the imbalance, right? So this block for divine masculine comes from this imbalance that he has with the divine feminine. So divine masculine's been doing this dance, right? We saw this. He's doing this puppeteering thing, this manipulation that involves his fantasy. And honestly, he's trying to ground the connection, but he's not offering any cups. He's not taking any cups. He's just kind of like in his reverie, like, oh, I love my divine feminine and it's so wonderful. In the meantime, she's like, is it wonderful? Divine masculine? Is it wonderful? And so she has kind of come into this hardened Queen of Swords energy where she's had to cut him out. We saw that. She's not wanting to move on. She's probably honestly just ended a connection or, made a decision, because we saw that Two of Pentacles in reverse. So she might have made a decision to just not engage in the same kind of way, or she could have really cut ties with someone, or there's all different aspects here. But the divine feminine in the masculine's headspace has become defensive, icy cold. She could be potentially conniving, although this wasn't in the shadow traits. So he could also be seeing her as discerning. It's like she figured him out. She figured out that he wasn't really planning on taking a cup, or that he was really just dancing back and forth in this energy of like, oh, will I, won't I? And she's like, well, you know what? I won't. So I won't do this dance with you anymore. So because she's refusing to dance with him, this has created this obstacle for him, which is that now he's realized he put a lot of his happiness in that interaction with the divine feminine. And now that she's gone to focus on her own craft, her own work, and just sort of been like, you know what, I can't do this with you right now. That is keeping him stuck. Like he doesn't know how to go forward. I also think his own career is blocking his happiness. That's another that's another aspect to this. Excuse me, sorry. What can I do? Ugh, I keep looking at the wrong thing. How is this block currently manifesting in the 3D? Oh, good morning. I see your messages. I'm glad this is resonating for you. All right. So the way that this is manifesting in the 3D for divine masculine is the Ace of Swords in reverse and the Three of Wands upright. So he's getting hurt and he's impatient. He's hurting himself. There's a refusal here to look with clarity and honesty at the past behaviors that have put divine feminine into a situation where she is entered into her Queen of Swords. So he's not wanting to look at it because it's going to hurt, and he's really impatient. His heart space, the feminine energy, is really impatient with himself about it. So he's frustrated because there's a feeling of like, it's time, it's time, it's time. All of these, we've been doing these readings for over a year. It's crazy that that's true, but that is true. And they've developed. You can go all the way back to the beginning of my history and you can see this progression. And everything was pointing towards union. And then we just hit this stagnant period, this plateau. And the Three of Wands keeps coming out because it's been time and it's been time and it's been time and it's been time. And that's what divine feminine is feeling. It's time, it's time, it's time. But because this masculine isn't doing anything except for manipulation and fantasy, for divine feminine now, it is time to move away from the connection, which divine masculine is feeling is the origination of his current obstacle, that the feminine has become his happiness, and that he's having a hard time really acknowledging that that is what happened, and that is why he's been, first of all, so afraid to come forward, and second of all, like so willing to like just keep this sitting in this place, because in all honesty, that selfishness that divine feminine was experiencing there, this for her, which was this King of Wands in reverse, this is how her block was currently manifesting, because it was difficult for her to move on. What in the hell did I so because it was difficult for her to move on from this connection or to go with this flow that's pulling her away at this time. And this doesn't mean it's a permanent thing, but it's just like, bitch, right now this shit is a hot mess over here with this manipulation. So why are you sticking around, honey baby cakes? When the spirit is moving you, right? You feel the spirit move you, you're supposed to move, but there's no movement. But guess what? That's because when we do these readings and we're like, oh, this is my person. And I'm like, yeah, that is your person. But this is only your person because I'm reading your energy. So divine masculine energy inside of self is selfishly not taking action towards what? Okay, well, spirit is telling divine masculine, hey, the iteration that you want of your masculine outside of yourself is imbalanced as a motherfucker, okay? This bitch can't keep it together with you. He cannot give you what you need. So you got to keep it pushing. And divine feminine is like, no, because I love him. And the universe is like, yes, you do. You love him because you love yourself. And if you love yourself, you wouldn't keep allowing yourself to be in this energy. So you have to move along. The iteration outside of yourself, what is he doing that's making you need to move along? Nothing. He's doing nothing, right? King of Wands in reverse. He's not following his heart. He's not following his passions. He is doing nothing. The Nine of Cups in reverse. The shadow of the Nine of Cups is selfishly hoarding everything to yourself. What will happen, divine feminine, if you listen to spirit when spirit is telling you, move along? What will happen? Well, if the iteration that you're focused on is your divine counterpart, which is what I say now instead of twin flame, if that is your divine counterpart and you just go along like the universe is telling you to do, stop focusing on it, stop thinking about it, stop obsessing over it, divine masculine will have to do something about it, right? He's going to have to do something about it. So your refusal to release this obstacle equals inaction for you, which is why you have this obstacle. So I'm going to rewatch this after and be like, God damn it. Why do I have to release this stupid motherfucker again? Okay. What? So we're back to Divine Masculine now on the third place, which I forgot now. But, oh, yes. What will help remove this obstacle? So, Jesus. What will help Divine Masculine? The Seven of Cups in the headspace and the Four of Wands in reverse in the heart space. So this Divine Masculine, you know, I love that mask is part of the word masculine because I feel like I have just been talking about this masculine's mask for over a year because I have, and he's wearing it. And in this image, he's wearing the mask and we're seeing this skull here. This is like the transformation energy. And there's, I always think, alas, poor Yurik, I knew him well, Horatio, when I see this image, of course. The Seven of Cups is about being confused, needing to make a choice, needing to have clarity, etc. And paired here with this Four of Wands in reverse, it's likely that there was some kind of another union, like a marriage of some kind, that needs to be released fully. And they could already have gone through the process, the legal process, etc. But there's still like a heart space thing that's going on there. Or another past energy is causing him to have to wear a mask. So it's like, if you want to remove this block, Divine Masculine, you have to take the mask off. You have to make a decision to deal with commitment issues, which are manifesting for you as like, oh, there's some kind of outside attachment, or you haven't fully released something, or whatever. Four of Wands in reverse is just commitment issues, honey. So you have to choose to actively deal with them and come into some kind of a balance with it, because it's on you, bro, that you keep dangling this carrot and then pulling it back because of your fears of commitment, or your fear that Divine Feminine isn't going to be with you or stay with you or love you or whatever the fuck it is that is going on. It's like, stop being confused. Like, one of the reasons that you feel a lot of confusion is because you're sitting here filling these fantasy cups. You've got four of them there, and then all of a sudden you've got seven. Like, you just keep adding all of this information from your headspace into these cups, and that is overwhelming you because you're not dealing with actual reality, right? So let us take a look now at who or what should I release from my past to move on. Damn straight. All right, we've got the Ten of Wands in reverse in the headspace, and then Judgment in the heart space. So you're really judging yourself very harshly for not communicating, right? That Ten of Wands, like not unburdening yourself, you know, just keeping it all inside and not actually saying anything. So you need to release this judgment and this fear of unburdening yourself. It's like there's some minor stuff here that when I'm hearing it is just making me want to like punch walls, but that's like, oh, I don't know what I'm gonna say, or like, how can I say it well, or like, what if I say the wrong? It's just like, bitch, if you said, hey, how are you doing, you'd get your dick sucked at this point. Like, you literally don't need to be a freaking articulate person right now. You just need to say like, oh, I love you and I'm sorry. Like, that's it. So just releasing this fear of like, oh, I don't know. Come on. Like, really? We've done much more frightening things in our lives than going to a person who unconditionally loves you and who wants to be with you so badly that you're in turmoil over it is going to be like, wow, fuck you for saying that. Like, if that's what they said, then it was the wrong person, and rejection is spiritual protection. So I don't know. Like, put your big boy pants on and go unburden yourself, because constantly holding on to this fear is just not serving you, and judging yourself for it is exacerbating it. This is what happens whenever we have any kind of an addiction. Addictions are accompanied by shame, right? And shame is what perpetuates addiction. So when you are afraid of doing something and you don't do it, then the amount of that, like that something gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And so now the shame associated with not doing it is bigger and bigger and bigger. It's like, I've waited so long. I've had all of these problems. I haven't found a way to unburden myself, because it's like the divine masculine has convinced himself that, oh, I can't express this, because he told himself, if I tell divine feminine, hey, I have to go through this legal process, or I have to find a way to navigate like my past family if there's children involved, or my career is demanding that I do this, this, and this. And my fear is that if I come in right now and say, hey, I can't really give you a commitment, I can't like give you a ring, I can't be open and transparent about the situation, I can't, whatever it is, your fear masculine is that you're going to go to the feminine and say, hey, I can't expect you to wait for me, but this is what's going on. That the divine feminine will be so hurt and so bitter or whatever that she'll be like, fine, fuck you forever. And that's just a complete misalignment, because truth and honesty, even if it hurts, right? This Ace of Swords, even if it hurts, it is preferable to a situation where instead of truth and honesty, you wear a mask, which is now even more shameful than the things you were going to ask for leniency on. So now you know, first you feel like an asshole because you're like, hey baby, like I can't give you anything except for like some D, because I can't do anything else other than that. So I'm pretty sure, since you're a queen, that you're not going to want just my D, and you're not going to be interested, which means you're going to be like, I'm sorry, I can't do that, and probably focus on other energy, because you shouldn't be alone for your whole life, right? And divine masculine fucking knows that that is what should have happened. The truth hurts, right? It's past due the time when he should have communicated this. So now he's so ashamed, and most likely he's got to ask for more leniency, which is more frightening, because not only does he have to be like, so I should have come and said this and I didn't because I was selfish and I didn't want to lose you, which is because I love you, but also I do understand that I loved you in a selfish way, because if I truly did love you, then I would have let you go so that you could be happy, and then hoped that it would work out when I was free. But I couldn't do that because I have abandonment and issues, and I just didn't have that capability, and I am sorry about that. And now I'm in a situation where I have waited so long, and there's so much time that has passed, and I feel ashamed about that. And I have to say to you, please, can you hang on, because I'm still working on releasing this. It's still not done. And to which divine feminine is going to be like, okay. And guess what? She probably is going to have to do this. Release the obstacle. Because if this can't happen, then she has to go with this flow into the next thing. And divine masculine has to allow feminine energy to do this. We do that when we don't feel jealous. And love isn't jealous. Okay, so what can I learn from this current pause? All right, divine masculine, you are getting the Four of Swords in reverse and the Empress in reverse. You are learning how, there's so many layers here. Wow. First of all, the Four of Swords is about silence, not communicating, not expressing. It can be about grief. It can be about faith, prayer, resting, sleeping. Our songs were all about not being able to sleep. Sleepless nights. When I shuffled the music today during the shuffle, we got Sleepless Nights from Yoko Ono. I had a dream last night. from, it's a Randy Newman song, but it was covered by the band Fanny. I can't remember the third song. Don't remember the third song, but a lot of sleeplessness, a lot of worry, a lot of anxiety. So that can be associated with it. For me, I'm seeing what he's learning from this current pause is he's learning how to have faith and trust, which is not been something that he was really taught, honestly. So he's learning that. He's learning that he needs to express with that 10 of Wands in reverse, like unburdening is a huge thing. So keeping silent is not okay. And he's learning that he's got to express. And that when we resist the grieving process, we extend the length of our grief. That's also being learned. The divine feminine here in reverse is he's basically learning to have faith and trust in the fulfillment of that feminine energy without being able to see her and be with her. He's learning how to navigate this. He's been obsessed watching, looking, having to see her all the time, which with that Ace of Swords in reverse is like hurting himself too. He's learning to have faith and trust without having to constantly be focused on her. If there is another feminine that he's had to release, he's learning how to release that feminine energy that no longer serves him. If there was a maternal energy, an abandonment issue regarding a maternal caregiver, that is also being processed, and the wounds that have come from that distorted feminine energy, being overprotective, overbearing, etc., is also being processed. So this is a lot of stuff that divine masculine is learning from this pause. And divine feminine, if you can honestly embrace love, agape, selfless love, then you will remove this obstacle. You will go with the flow, and you will take your focus off of this physical manifestation of this union to allow divine masculine to work through all of what I just said. Because this pause for him is an incredible gift to have finally deal with these wounds. And guess what? These are your wounds. So you're giving yourself the time you need by taking your focus away from whoever you want to be with. Oh, I love you so much, but I've got to go do this. And not going and then just doing work and being like, well, and when I have money and a job, then I'll feel better, right? Which is just another way we take our focus from like the love connection, then we put it on to like, oh, well, I'll get money. If you can authentically go with this flow, lightly focusing on connection on a spiritual level, because you were getting the Hierophant card. Focus on yourself, your own abundance and creativity and prosperity that's available within the self, and work on your distorted feminine, which is overprotective, has abandonment and anxious attachment issues, right? And work on your faith and trust. Do you see how this is connected? This is why I listen to readings all the time. There's a few readers that I highly, highly recommend, and I should start writing their names down because I'm so bad with names. But when I prefer readers who talk about the spiritual aspects of the connection versus like the karmic did this and that and the other thing. Not that we don't need to learn lessons from third party energy, but I just prefer those type of readings. But I don't see many readers pulling you back to center and being like, hey, this isn't about a person on the outside of you, because that person isn't here at the reading. So I'm not reading that person's energy. I'm reading your energy. And so when I say the masculine did this, the masculine did that, and the feminine did this, and the feminine did that, and did this, that, and the other thing. Number one, that's energy, not gender. So everybody has that balance inside of themselves. And number two, I'm talking about you. It's so important for you to keep coming back to the whole lesson, which is balancing feminine and masculine energy in a society, in cultures that have an extreme imbalance with masculine and feminine energy. The feminine has been oppressed, repressed, tortured, abused, neglected, controlled, and that doesn't just mean a gendered feminine, a biological feminine. It means that if we have misogyny, hatred, or whatever for an external feminine, we have it for the one inside of ourselves, which makes us imbalanced. All of us, no matter what body parts we have. So that's what he's learning. Okay, I don't hate that lesson. Go ahead, learn that lesson. We love that for you. Okay, what can I look forward to once the obstacle is removed? Alrighty, so we had an interesting thing happen where 2 cards came out for headspace. So we have 2 things in the headspace to clarify today, and then we have the heart space. The 2 things in the headspace are the 3 of Pentacles upright and the 2 of Wands in reverse and the 10 of Cups in the heart space. This is what Divine Masculine has to look forward to. Now, we already saw the 10 of Cups over here for Divine Feminine. So there's that union. There's a lot of union in this spread today between the 2 of them, which is great because that's the union inside of the self. Even if we're resisting that 4 of Wands, where that sacred union is here, we're resisting that knowledge that that sacred union is inside of self. We keep thinking, no, it's going to happen on the outside, and then I'm going to feel, and the universe keeps being like, okay, you're only going to feel your spiritual fulfillment if it happens inside of yourself. Okay? That's it. I swear to God, literally, that's it. Maybe you'll feel good for the new relationship energy. The first, the first year, and then the first 3 years or something. And then boom, you're right back where you started because you didn't actually do the work. That's why you come here. That's why we do this. That's why we check in all the time. So here we have this 2 of Wands in reverse, which can be associated with the twin flame journey, but it's about planning. It's about having asked for something and then not being sure exactly what's going to happen. And you kind of have to, you're making plans, and the best laid plans never work out, so to speak. It's about Divine Masculine no longer doing that planning by himself. Trying to plan for a future that includes a feminine energy and leaving her out of it completely is not really working for him or for anyone. So no longer just being the solo planner here who's doing everything and controlling everything, but instead collaborating, working together as a team to be able to bring about the spiritual fulfillment. So if he can remove this block, if he can fully illuminate and integrate that feminine energy inside of self, understand that the sacred union is inside of self, not outside of self, he's going to be able to work with the feminine. She's not going to be working by herself anymore. They're going to be working together, which is beautiful. All right, now let's take a look at the oracles, which I pull to help us remove these obstacles even further. I'm stressing because it's 53 minutes in, and we got a lot of oracle cards today. We got 2 cards coming out for each deck. I don't know why. I guess y'all need a lot of help today. So it's probably going to be it's probably going to be another minute. And I got to get done soon because I'm going into the studio today. My car gets here at 10:45. So let's dig in. Okay, we're going to go over to Divine Feminine. Now, I've been doing this cool thing where I look at the sexual energy or the Kundalini energy, creative energy, the energy of the union, however you want to say that. Excuse me. And I have a couple of decks that I associate with that energy. We're going to use the Sluttist Tarot and for Divine Feminine. Oh, you are kidding me, Divine Feminine, with this. This is crazy. Okay. So if you were here on Monday, Divine Feminine had one of the same cards come out. So it's here again. So she's still in that same place. But we're getting a little bit more information about where she is now. So in terms of the sexual energy of physical union, Kundalini, and creative energy, we have a Divine Feminine that is very, very afraid still, right? We saw her fear of intimacy with this 9 of Swords on Monday, which is, quite an intense image here. It's like a kinky knife throwing thing that's not quite worked out so well. And it's something that she's doing to herself. So it's also yeesh. Everybody gets their kicks in different ways, no judgment, but Lord in heaven, this does not look fun for me. And I would fear this much pain personally. So divine feminine is still, her sexual energy is she's really still afraid of being hurt, and she's really concerned about the emperor energy that showed up for divine masculine on Monday. So divine masculine's sexual energy on Monday, he got the emperor upright, which is that Aries energy that's like, let's go, let's get it going, okay? So like really really into it every day, multiple times a day. I mean, I'm down, but like apparently part of me is like not, okay? And so divine masculine had that, like he's ready to go. He has a stable foundation, etc. But there is an element of the emperor that divine feminine is very afraid of. Now in this deck it says power. And divine feminine is really afraid to give up her power in this way because she may have been paying attention to what I said on Sunday in the Great Reading with Grace Strega, when I said a quote that someone told me once, that the person who has the most power in a relationship is the person who wants sex the least. So if divine masculine is in his emperor energy and he's ready to go, he's the one with the least power, honestly, which is ironic. Divine feminine is afraid to surrender that power by giving in to her sexual desires in regards to the masculine energy. She knows once she really allows herself to really want that and have that, that power dynamic is going to shift. And she's afraid also of being controlled. She might also have had experienced an overpowering feeling of that sexual energy that kind of made her do things that hurt herself or hurt the union. So she might have wanted it so badly that she um, just did some things that actually sabotaged herself. The bottom of the deck, and I am not kidding you, is again the Eight of Pentacles in, or I'm sorry, it is not the Eight of Pentacles. It is the Nine of Pentacles in reverse, but it's another reversal. So divine feminine is afraid. She is afraid to be in her single and fabulous energy and get to experience sexual relationships with others that are not this past manifestation, because remember, she's resisting this flow. So there's a lot of stuff in there about fear of intimacy. And this kills me because, like, girl, I am thirsty, okay? It's been a long time. But I've been stuck in this energy of being fixated on this other iteration who's made me no promises, given me no commitments. The only thing that this individual has done is like put songs on playlists that make it seem like he would be really upset if I saw anyone else. When I say that out loud, I just can't even. Okay. Yes, that's great for me. Love that for me. So why would I be resisting going with the flow? Like, what an obstacle that is. That person is giving me nothing except for a leash. Cool for me. So divine feminine, really take a look at that energy of sabotaging yourself, letting someone else have this power over you, and then ironically being afraid to reward yourself with sexual gratification within your full single and independent energy because you're afraid of giving up your power. So you gave up your power and now you're afraid of giving it up. Alrighty, let's go and look at your oracles. How else can we help you today? You are in the light attributes of the destroyer, which is amazing because the light attributes are releasing what is potentially destructive and preparing for a new life. So if you were afraid when you saw this obstacle that you weren't going to be able to do that, here is this proof that you're already doing it. That you are absolutely already doing it. You are releasing what's destructive. What is destructive? Relationships that make you feel like this, that you have no independence, that you do not have your own power, that you cannot be your own person. That's destructive, and that is what needs to be released. And part of you just thinks like, no, I was supposed to be this person, and this person is my person. And it's like, if this person was your person, I love you, you would be with them because you asked to be with this person and the universe is granting it to you. If they are your person, you would be with them. But they are either not your person entirely, they never were, or they are not your person yet because they are not at your level. And you could sit and wait for somebody to get to your level, which is what you've been doing. How's that working? That's what I thought. Or you can keep it pushing. And you're in the light because you are ready to do it. You are no longer destroying your potential by sitting there and doing nothing. Your guardian angel is here to support you in holding this vision. Remember, what you wanted had an essence, right? Sure, it had a vessel that you're associating it with. It had a certain color hair and certain color eyes and all these kinds of things. That was the vessel that the essence of what you desired is like, that's what you associated it with. But you asked for something, right? You didn't ask for a person who's going to be controlling and manipulative. Did you? No. You asked to come into partnership with your true love, I'm assuming. Most people do that. They want to be with the person who they really love and who really loves them. Hold that vision. Take everything, all the information from that person that you currently love, write down every wonderful, amazing thing that you get from them. I hope you have a long list. When you get to the bottom of the list, look at that list and understand that everything on that list you are getting. And then on the other side of the list, write down every single way that they fall short, that they don't show up, that they do things that you don't like. And then change all of those statements into the opposite. So if you were like, he controls me, then the opposite is he gives me complete freedom and autonomy, right? And write that down, because every single thing that that person that you want right now is doing that you don't like is also drawing to you the essence of what you want. So if that person can't meet any of the opposites of what he's giving you right now, he's not your person. Hold the vision of what you want, which is all the pros and all the opposites of the cons. Make that list. Do yourself a favor. Have gratitude for all of it. Have gratitude for that person showing you all of it. I do. I'm extremely grateful for the person who showed me all of these things. And I am loving and unconditionally loving in that way, and would be forgiving were I even actually given an apology, right? Because I did gain a lot. But my vision is that I will not settle for anything less than feeling whole inside of myself and having someone on the outside of myself honor that wholeness within me, because I do my best to honor that within them. You are getting this Saint Cecilia card, which says play music. This is so poignant to me today because I'm going into the studio to record another track for my record. And I've been sick for a couple of weeks, but I'm going to sing anyway because that's what I'm like. I don't want to wait anymore. It's really important to me. But there's an emphasis here. If you are a musician, play music. If you like music and enjoy it, to listen to it, listen to the messages. I mean, the whole point of my account on Tuned in Tarot, although it's more and more difficult as they get more and more stern about copyright law, which benefits me as a musician, so I can't really... Wait, does it benefit me? Oh, no, wait, I'm sorry. It benefits giant corporations and not me at all, but okay, whatever. Anyway, but my account has always been about me shuffling music while I shuffle cards and then letting you know the messages I receive from the music and then how that applies to the cards. So the same thing for you. Listen to music, take it in, pay attention to it, receive those messages from it. If you're an artist of any kind, not just a musician, but any kind of an artist, which most of us here are in this collective, engage in these things that make you happy and make you feel fulfilled and be in that place of creativity. You got your Queen of Pentacles energy all over, so you're very creative and abundant right now, and you should take advantage of that. And Saint Cecilia is the patron saint of musicians. She is my saint's name that I took when I was confirmed. Thank you, universe, for helping me see beyond the limits of fear. Thank you for expanding my perception so that I can see what is the highest good. I feel like this is literally summing up what I just said about making that list of pros and cons, writing it down, and then having appreciation. Thanking the universe for showing you through this person, through the pain, through the things that you've gone through, how it's expanded your perception, and you can see what's in your highest good. Once you make that list of the things you like and don't like, and take the things that you don't like and turn them into how you're calling in the opposite of that, because you're like, no, I don't want this, which means I want something else. And once you identify what it is you do want, this is expanding you so that you know what's in your highest good. Now, after you have this whole list of things, I want you to find a way to give yourself everything on that list. Everything. Fantastic orgasms, breakfast in bed, like whatever it is that that person gave you that you were like, oh my God, I loved that. You need to give yourself the essence of these things. As you are doing this, the law of attraction, which by the way is a law like gravity. Want to see gravity work? There you go. Okay, so the law of attraction is going to attract people, not just one person, people, not just a romantic partner, everyone. Your boss, or if you're the boss, your employees, bitch, I'm the boss, my employees, the people who are my friends, the people who give me my coffee in the morning, all of those people are going to be doing the same things that you're doing. So they're going to be high vibrating because they're going to be doing what's good for their highest good. So the person who hands you the coffee has this genuine joy because they've just discovered something genuine and honored it about themselves. If you're doing that for yourself, right? So if you're giving yourself everything that you want your partner to give you, what kind of a partner is going to show up? My fearless freedom lights up the world. You are so afraid of being trapped, losing your power. But your power is only taken away by your fear. So your fearlessness is what creates freedom, and that lights up the world. Understanding that you can't fuck it up. Abraham Hicks says you can't get it wrong and you'll never get it right. I see your question here. Do you do readings on live? On Sundays with Grace Strega on Instagram, we read together for half an hour and then we answer personal questions online. So I do readings live on that session. If you want to book any services, pearlsprayers.com, there's a services page. And and I do income-based things. So if you need income-based things, just send an email about it. We'll discuss it. But all the pricing is there and the booking information is all there on my page. And I do personal readings. Okay. So fearless. When you are fearless, you are free. You are also getting the trust card in reverse because you're really having to do this. This is the high priestess energy. Look at her holding up this mirror. This is trusting yourself. It's being able to see what's reflected back to you and understand that that's this language from your inside that tells you exactly what state you're in and that you can trust the messages that you're receiving. You are also getting strength in reverse. You are very, very, very challenged right now. There is an acknowledgement here that it's taking a lot of strength to endure, that it takes a lot of strength to release your ego. And because your ego is the only thing that's keeping you fixated on this. Your ego is afraid that if you walk away, you're going to lose something really good. Is it really good right now? Or is it really good in your future memories? Right? Because what I have right now is not really good. It is not really good at all. It is not really anything, honestly. It is really not. Like, I have an admirer. Well, I'm Pearl from Pearl in the Prayers. I have a lot of admirers. I take the stage and sing my heart out. There's many people who could fill the role of being a fan. They could send me loving messages, and they do. So, okay, pick a number, bro. Like, you like me. I like me too. I'm great. Okay? So why am I so reluctant to give that up? I'm reluctant because I see the potential in this person. I see the potential in the messages they send me. I have a fantasy that I've been just lost in. Not taking any offers, not getting any offers, not receiving them, nothing. Because I'm lost with him in this fantasy. But it's not real. What's really happening is when I send messages, I get no response. And then when I say, hey, I'm not going to send messages anymore because I get no response, I get vitriolic, like sad boy, oh, you're leaving me, and fine, go be with someone else and go away on the playlist that comes up next. Okay. So your message to me when I ask you heartfelt, like I need some kind of communication, is nothing. And then I'm like, okay, well, I guess that I won't communicate with you this way because that's not fair. Then you're like, wow, you're a bitch. Yeah, I'm a super bitch, dude. Look at how bitchy I have been for all these years. You know, that's the reality. Not the future potential of how great that person is when he stops doing things like that. He's not stopped doing those things for years. Literally. Years. So I guess I better do something different. And my obstacle is not really wanting to do that. But I feel differently after this reading, honestly. Expect powerful change because I feel differently about this situation when I'm talking about it right now. My ego is like, Jesus fuck! How have you been doing that all this time? I don't know, man. I guess I've been doing nothing because of my fears of commitment and my need to manipulate the situation and my everything on my divine masculine side. That's why. So I need to fix that. And I can't fix that if I'm focused on a person outside of myself at all. Because all I'm thinking about is that person and how that person isn't doing what I want. Instead of being like, well, why am I not doing what I want? Because what I want to do is be in a partnership with somebody who loves me and isn't afraid to say it and doesn't have any problem. Like, I don't know. Like, I see people all the time. They're like, oh, this person liked me and they asked me on a date. And we went on a date. We liked each other and we kept dating each other. Eventually, we just decided to get married or whatever. Like, that happens to people. Why would that not happen to me? There's some belief that it won't. And so I just like am in this fear-based thing of like, oh, well, I'll just wait for this person who's really treating me like I'm a piece of dirt that needs to pay a lot of attention to them. So the ever unfolding rose cracked open. It is happening for you, not to you. This is another thing to remember. We don't need to shift from being like, wow, what an asshole, and then like focusing on how terrible that person is. What you have to do is say thank you, just like I said, pros and cons, and then draw thank you over it, because thank you is valid for both of those things. Thank you, honestly, thank you for leaving me high and dry for the last 10 years because I'm awesome now. And I didn't go into any other relationships because I wasn't ready. I had fears of intimacy. I had a sexual trauma from when I was a child I never dealt with until this year. I had so many things that I would not have been able to work through in such a beautiful, transformative way and see my own value so much if I hadn't have had those things happening for me. So the things that seem like he was, oh, he's doing that to me. Oh, he's doing that to me. Oh, he's whatever. He's doing it for me. When my son was little and somebody was bullying him, I said, you should tell that kid thank you. And my son was like, why? And I'm like, because he showed you what a dick he is. Like, you don't want to be around a person like that. Like, be like, bro, thank you for showing me like what a waste of time you are for me. Like, you don't uplift me in any way. So tell him thank you and move it on. Like, move it along. And I need to take the same advice that I would give my own son. Excuse me. All right. Grasshopper spirit. Divine feminine, take the leap of faith. Believe in these messages. Believe that you are meant right now to move away from this connection 100%. Move away. Take that leap and trust. And then we're getting porcupine spirit. Time for beginner mind. Can I make it up? And it's the protection message, which I'm going to go ahead and look at in the book, even though we're at an hour and 15 minutes, because what the fuck? All right, let's see. 48. This says, for the protection message from the Colette Baron Reed Spirit Animal Oracle, are you feeling prickly and defensive lately and assuming you will be hurt before you have seen any sign that such a reaction is called for? Perhaps an old sense of guilt and shame is causing you to be cynical and wary when you are meant to be open and curious. Self protection is a good thing, but you may be protecting yourself from something that will not actually harm you, but instead will bring you abundance, happiness, and love. Remember your innocence, and you will see what you have been overlooking. Porcupine clothes are filled with air, allowing a porcupine to float in water. Now is a time to let your innocent nature keep you buoyant. Wow, that resonates with me so much. So that sexual energy that showed us that we were afraid of other, any interactions, we were afraid of being intimate. And we need to open ourselves up to intimacy. We need to open ourselves up to abundance, happiness, and love. And we're protecting ourselves from it by staying in these situations where we're focused only on this future potential and not really in this present moment. That is this weird way of protecting ourselves from actually receiving. I believe my divine masculine is my divine counterpart. So I believe that when I shift my energy, my divine masculine will do the same. And I do know that if that is not my divine counterpart, and he won't shift, and then I will move on and it will be okay. But the reluctance to move away because you might be proven wrong about what your ego was really wanting to be right about. Imagine staying your whole life in your own prison, not willing to look and see if you were wrong or not. Right? That being reluctant because your ego is afraid it's going to get hurt. If it finds out, like, I thought it was supposed to be this person, but this person is really, really toxic and it's not really what I need. And then staying your whole life in that toxic situation. All right, divine masculine, let's help you out. You're in the light attributes right now of the addict. Okay? So that's helping you recognize and confronting your addictive behavior. So you this could be actually true. There could be some of us that are in some kind of a rehabilitation program or really truly facing addictions to intoxicants of some kind or anything, food addiction, love addiction. Honestly, if the feminine side of self is resisting moving away from focusing on a past connection, that's sort of like a love addiction, right? So we are confronting this about ourselves at this moment, and we are pushing back against those behaviors from the ego. The shadow attributes we've released are compromising our integrity and honesty and allowing an addictive pattern to have authority over our inner spirit. So that's really beautiful, divine masculine. Oh, before we go any deeper, I almost forgot your sexual energy. Let's do that first. You got 2 cards today. You are getting the Queen of Pentacles from the Housewives Tarot, which is one of my favorite decks. It's just great. And you are getting the 8 of Swords. And yes, this is a collective reading. We're looking at the divine masculine side of self right now, and we're looking at his sexual energy, kundalini energy, creative energy, and the energy of physical union in these 2 cards. So divine masculine is he's got a specific Queen of Pentacles on his mind that he would like to come into union with, physical union with. She is larger than life to him. And I think there is a little bit of a fear of her power over him. Again, as I said, when I brought out the cards for the divine feminine, and I referenced that quote that I talked about on Sunday with Grace Strega on Instagram Live. I said that there was a wise man who told me once that the person in a relationship who wants sex the least has the most power. Divine masculine's mind, divine feminine has the most power because he wants her very, 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 very much, right? There is a feeling here. We saw the 8 of Swords for divine feminine in reverse on Monday, but now we're seeing it upright for the masculine. And the 8 of Swords is about protecting ourselves because we're afraid that whatever it is that we want is going to hurt us in some way. And so we're protecting ourselves from it. We talk about this in terms of sabotage when we see the Eight of Swords, but sabotage I like to reframe as self-protection, because if we're sabotaging ourselves, it's because we're not ready to receive yet what it is we desire. So divine masculine's fear of divine feminine's power over him, which is exactly, I might add, mirroring divine feminine's fear of the masculine's power over her, right? So that mirrored fear is causing divine masculine to hold back his desires and urges for this feminine. He also, I think, sees divine feminine as doing that. He is intuitively aware of divine feminine's self protection, which is extreme, right? She's hurting herself, keeping herself in isolation, not being with anyone else, not being in any kind of sexual relationships for the most part because of her fear. And I think divine masculine is feeling that that includes him, that her ability to control that sexual desire puts her in this position of power over him. So it's a really interesting sort of energy. Now, remember, this is his inner feminine. So it's like he is able to withhold. He is actually good at withholding sexually too. So you've got two people that are like absolutely great at withholding. All right, now let's go back to his oracle. So we saw that he's in the light attributes of the addict, and he's also in the light attributes of the shapeshifter, which is skill at navigating through different levels of consciousness and the ability to see the potential in everything. Now, this ability is why feminine has a problem. Divine masculine has been looking at the potential of this relationship for the duration of the relationship. And he has been focused on the potential, right? But when you're focused on the potential, you're not living in the moment. And so that has been a real problem for the divine feminine energy. But it is a positive skill to be able to see the potential in everything. And divine masculine is releasing this shadow attribute of projecting any image that serves your personal agenda in the moment. So he has stopped doing that. He has stopped just kind of showing divine feminine what he thinks she wants to see, or telling her what he thinks she wants to hear, trying to control or manipulate the situation. He stopped doing that. Now, while he stopped doing that, that's caused some rifts. That's caused some discomfort, because now divine feminine isn't just getting what she wants to hear. She's actually hearing like, it's not going to happen right at this moment. It's not going to happen right now. I can't do that. And I am afraid that while I can't do that, that you're going to get tired of waiting for me, because I understand how tiring it is, because I'm tired, and you're going to move on. And I'm scared of that. And when divine feminine is now hearing those messages, and they aren't just messages of like, it's going to happen, baby. We're going to be together. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so great. And she's like, what the fuck? Why are you telling me we're going to be together, but we're not? I don't understand. And because he's not unburdening himself and communicating and just instead doing this indirect shit, it's been a problem. But he's in the light now because he's releasing that. It is causing tower moments for the couple, but it's good. Remember, how is this manifesting? This truth hurts, right? All right. Divine masculine, you're getting this guardian angel for practice makes perfect. You hate this. I hate it too. Practicing is uncomfortable because you're not perfect at it. We're almost all of us are perfectionists. It's just a thing. And it's this situation where you have to practice something to get good at it. You're not loving it. You're being supported in this energy. You're practicing. You are learning how to unmask, right? You've been shape-shifting in a really negative way for a long time. Just chameleon, just like Okay, I'll look like this now. I'll look like this now. I'll talk like this now. I'll do this now. I'll do this now. I'm just trying to please all these external energies. And now you're not doing that. And it takes practice to be good at it. And sometimes you might kind of, when you start to panic, like you start telling Divine Feminine the truth. And she's like, wait, what do you mean? You're not going to be here for my birthday or anything? You're not gonna be here. You're not this. But you said that you were gonna be before, and now you have to be like, yeah, I did say that, but I said that because I was afraid if you didn't think that I wasn't gonna come, then you were gonna leave me. So you're practicing this, saying the truth and receiving the truth back, and it's difficult, but you're supported in it. You're getting better and better. You're growing and you're learning. Guardian Angel is here to support you in this inner child healing, and also you've been extremely childish and you are maturing. And you have a lot of fear about the childish energy that you have. When we have a lot of childish energy, it's because we had some kind of a severe trauma happen to us around the age where our immaturity kind of got locked in. So, whatever happened to that divine masculine, he was locked in that place. For me, my trauma happened when I was under the age of 4. So my emotional development was very narcissistic for a long time because I got halted at the point right before you start to realize that there's all these other influences in the environment in child development before the age of 3. When you're about 2, you are the center of your own world. Something similar happened with divine masculine. So he is being supported in this healing process of healing that inner child so that he can mature to be able to communicate. And it is taking practice. Divine masculine, this is always coming out for you. When I think I've surrendered, I surrender more. So if you're patting yourself on the back like, oh, good job surrendering, surrender even more. Even more. Because you've been so controlling for so long that you have to overcorrect, right? Like how we have to overcorrect as a society in terms of the way that we communicate with each other, in terms of our pronouns, in terms of being sensitive to people's ethnic backgrounds and how that affects their experience of the world. Like people get annoyed, like, oh, I have to say this or I can't do that or whatever, and like, oh, no. Yeah, you do. Fuck you. We have to overcorrect, right? So for the next however long, we overcorrect the fuck out of what's been going wrong. And then when our children grow up, they don't have those problems because we overcorrected. Now it's kind of simmered down a bit. It doesn't even need to be emphasized because it's inherent that we're equal in whatever way we've decided that we wanted to change or shift. So if you think that you've surrendered, like, oh, I'm not like that, surrender even more. My vibes speak louder than my words. 100% true for me. I can get all the words in the world, but what I can tell is true is based on my observation of action. Divine masculine, there's that dreams energy. You're lodged inside of it. And you're getting these 2 cards together, dreams and life purpose. You have been dreaming and fantasizing about this fulfillment through the feminine form. There's been sexual energy involved, there's been material fulfillment. It's not been entirely about what this journey is actually about. The journey is about enlightenment, right? And your life purpose. And coming into union with a person is never your life purpose. The journey towards that person is your life purpose. The end result is coming into union in self. If you get to come into union with a person, it's just like icing on the cake. But it's not the cake. This is the cake. And so your dreams have to transform. You also might be having a lot of information coming from your dreams. This could be about the union between the 2 of you, being in that dream space, but your life purpose is what needs to be the focus of your dreams. Show the world the real you. Divine Feminine Star in reverse. This is a kind of like the star card, and there's that Aquarian energy here. Full moon in Aquarius. Show the world the real you. Stop hiding with that mask. How can I remove the obstacle? Take off the mask and show us your humanity, right? You're being a chameleon, not a human right now. There's not even a human face here. When he takes this mask off, there's nothing there, right? You're presenting an image to the person you love. When the person you love, you need to have complete transparency with. Instead, you're just giving them an image. And you're doing that because you need to work through your fears. You've got a lot of fear and you need to work through it. I can't believe how long this reading is. Oh my God. All right. Trust the niggle. What is the niggling feeling trying to tell you? Well, we didn't do niggling feelings today because we did a different style of reading, but your niggling feelings for sure have to do with your obstacle, which is that I don't think my happiness is supposed to be in just this feminine energy. I think my happiness is supposed to be an integration of feminine energy inside of myself, right? I would say that's probably the niggling feeling. But you need, if there's something irking you, there's something, oh, well, that card's dead on the floor. Okay. There's something inside of you that's just kind of in the back of your mind. Trust the niggle. Oh, divine masculine. Wow. It's so interesting because I don't usually allow 2 animal spirit cards because I will tend to read them sometimes and I didn't want to take so long. But I allowed 2 cards today. The first one for divine feminine was take a leap and the second one was beginner's mind, which is literally like the fool, right? Both of those cards, aspects of the fool energy, that new beginning. Divine masculine, you're getting 2 cards that are also related. Koi fish spirit, which there is enough. There is always enough. And buffalo spirit, which is the abundant universe will provide. You're so afraid of this lack. You're afraid that there's not enough love. You're afraid that divine feminine doesn't have enough love, that if she is with someone else, that somehow that depletes you. And it doesn't. This is not a love that fizzles and dies when the focus moves to someone else. It's an eternal bond, an eternal connection. You cannot lose the love of God. And this is the love that comes from source, because this is what you tap into when you focus on each other. And you do not have to be together to experience this love for all time. Radha and Krishna are the 2 deities that I think of most often associated with the twin flame journey. Also, Isis and Osiris. These are figures in our spiritual historical mythology that talk about being in unconditional love on the earth without being physically together. The unconditional love that they have for each other on the earth translates into this eternal connection that's in the ethers. It's not actually meant to even be physical. So moving away from a focus on physical connection is your life purpose. And it doesn't mean you can't have a partner. It just means that you can't identify your happiness, your life purpose, your mission, your abundance, your prosperity. You can't identify that with anything outside of the self. All right, the union. These are the things that you are both in union in regards to. You're in the shadow attributes of the night energy right now, which is an allegiance to a destructive ruler or principle and romantic delusions. And you need to come into the light, which is loyalty, romance, chivalry, and a love of honor. So right now, you're both in your romantic delusions. That's what we were talking about. You're so focused on this fantasy that you're not actually facing reality. And that is really causing a rift for you, because the fantasy is something that is, first of all, it's meant to entertain you. It comes from entertainment. It comes from books, stories, plays, movies, songs, etc., right? And those things reduce everything. They're reductive. They take an overarching concept and they reduce it into a simple, digestible formula. My sister has a great podcast, Will They, Won't They? If you don't know about it, go subscribe to it. It's on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And her friend get together and they talk about rom-coms. And it's really funny and interesting. And there's a lot of good spiritual stuff that kind of comes up when they talk about it too. And there's nothing more reductive than the rom-com, right? They skip over all of this stuff. And so when all of this stuff is happening, you're like, there must be something wrong with me. I must, I'm not meant to be and have love, or I can't have love or whatever, but you are having love. This is what it is. This is what it is. It's the journey of figuring out how valuable you are and how worthy you are. And then being able to see that same worthiness in someone else and then meeting each other, right? It's not, oh, this person's more worthy than me and I have to give them everything, or, this person is going to be submissive to me. It's like we have to learn all of that stuff. And because we look at the media and entertainment, we get these delusions about what romance is like. This is romance. You're in it. It just doesn't look like the future potential you keep imagining because you got that from the Princess Bride movie. Great movie, but what the fuck? That's not reality, right? Your guardian is Mother Mary. And there's a reversal here because there's an emphasis. We saw the distorted feminine come up in the reading. So we know that there is a distorted feminine energy here. That there was probably a maternal caregiver somewhere in there that had a distortion, or we just learned about the distorted feminine and we have fears about it, anxieties about it. We also need a lot of nurturing, mothering energy. You might have cravings for sweets right now. When you get sweet tooth cravings, that's definitely like wanting coziness, mothering, kind of nurturing. Give yourselves that nurturing. Be in that place. And if you have, if you're comfortable with a devotion to Mary, saying a rosary, if that's part of your practice, maybe to consider doing that, or pick any divine feminine deity of any kind and have some kind of devotion or a meditation upon that goddess energy, that mothering energy. You are also getting the presence of love will always cast out fear. So that fearless freedom that we were after for divine feminine, when you're feeling fear, find a way to pivot into a place of love and it will cast out the fear that you have. That is one reason I believe why divine masculine energy, in my experience, will consistently send these messages of love, because that does cast out fear. And in fact, I had that experience where there was a list where it was only about love and I had no fear. And then the masculine was like, oh, wait, like I'm projecting something that's not going to happen yet. So I have to express that, which then made me feel fear, because it was a song that wasn't just about love. It was about fear. So the presence of love will always cast out fear. Travel. You both are on this journey. I do feel that there is this pulling away from one another at the moment. And I think you just need to kind of go with it, especially because that's divine feminine's block. So go with that traveling away and just journeying into the self, finding the elements that you're seeking outside of self somewhere inside of self. And this could be an indication that there is travel. There might be travel that has to take place in order to come into union or to go away from each other. However that is, there might be actual travel that's about to happen. And then we're getting a reversal on this card. Share your voice, come out of the cave, persecution and expression. Okay. This is an emphasis. You are both afraid to share your voice because you are afraid that you will persecute one another. You're also afraid that if everyone can hear what's really in your heart, you will be persecuted for your expression. Even when I was with my sister yesterday, who is not fond of my DM, I felt I couldn't really talk about what was going on with me because I'm not allowed to express that without feeling persecution. And so I was suppressing that and not speaking, communicating with it. We know that's a problem. So find a way to share your voice. If you're afraid to share because you're afraid of persecution, that means that there's a part of you inside of yourself that is still rejecting whatever it is that you want to communicate. You're still afraid that there might be something wrong with what you want. And so that's the thing that you have to look into. That's the niggling feeling, right? You got to go and look at that. Is it truly something that is bad for you? Or do you know that it is good for you, but you are not certain about it? And so you can't say that with confidence because you don't really trust your own feeling about how you know that it's actually good, which is kind of more how I felt. My situation is like, I know that some of the way she feels about my situation is because of her own beliefs about it. But in reality, it's like a projection of her fears, and it really isn't about mine. And I just might be afraid of actually telling her, no, I know this, because I'm afraid that she'll be like, that she'll think I'm delusional, right? The romantic delusion thing. And if I was worried about her thinking I was delusional, and then my card came up that said I was in my romantic delusion, what do you think I need to look at? I probably am being a bit delusional, right? So when you feel afraid, look into the reasons why you feel afraid. And then you just need to fully express yourself. See the big picture. You've both gotten very focused on the union. And because of that, you've lost sight of the picture, your mission, what you're supposed to be doing in the world, yourself for the feminine. You need to look and see that there's this whole thing unfolding, and it is not just about being able to have this fulfillment of this person. Honestly, it would be so much easier if that's what we're about, and it is not. I am going to read the card for this, even though we're at 141. Whatever, man. Let's live dangerously. We'll go in at 2 full hours. All right. Giraffes stretch upward to reach the treetops and look down from a high vantage point. When giraffe spirit appears, it is a sign to observe from a higher view. In all aspects of your life, it's time to stretch your neck out and broaden your view. Open your eyes to what others need or are experiencing, and see the big picture you fit into. No matter how great your wisdom, knowledge, or experience, you don't want to overlook details and connections that will help you better understand yourself and your circumstances. So stretch yourself. Look beyond what catches your attention at eye level, and know that not everything is as obvious as you might like it to be. Spirit will bestow upon you a new perspective that might make all the difference. Wow. Okay. So I'm going to pull these final cards as quickly as I can to close out the energy so that you have some advice of what you should do for today that will help you come into union with the self, which, of course, when we do that, translates into union outside of self. So let's get it on, shall we? Thanks so much for being here. Please like, subscribe, share, click on the links in the description box to take you to the different places where you can support me, because I do this for free. I do these full-length readings. I really love to do it, but I also love to eat and feed my son, who you just saw there walking behind me, and pay for my record, which costs $24,000. I'm paying for it on my own because fuck labels. And so yeah, if you want to help support me, please go click on all the things. pearlsprayers.com is where you can book services, and there's all kinds of services there. I do music production as well. I assistant producing, co-producing, etc. So go see all the things. And then my Instagram. Okay, I'm running a competition. Not a competition. A giveaway. That's what it's called. I'm doing a giveaway. If you go and answer in my stories, which probably has disappeared and I'll have to put a new one up, but keep your eye on my Instagram stories. When you see the question pop up that says, what song embodies the Wheel of Fortune? Put the song that you think embodies the Wheel of Fortune. I will add you to a drawing, and you'll be able to win a free full-length reading or any one of the services on the Tuned In Tarot page. And a cover song of your choice, fully produced, mixed, and mastered. Okay, let's finish up this reading. Divine Feminine, what can you do today that will help you move on? Because that's the obstacle that we're having. Well, here it is. You're getting date In reverse, with meeting someone new, dating, get back out there, planning or setting a date. And then you are getting karmic relationship, feeling triggers, turmoil, resentment, lessons, letting go, and loving you. Okay. Divine Feminine, you need to give up this idea that the way that you will get over your karmic relationship is if you meet someone new. There's a lot of us out there that are like, I'm crafty. I'm going to get over this person that I want to be with all my heart, body, mind, and soul by just going on Tinder and meeting someone else and getting obsessed with them instead. You might have done that recently. You might have started to focus on a karmic. I haven't, but maybe you've done that. Let it go. Let it go. You've learned the relation. You've learned the lessons. We got the 6 of Swords. That's where the block originates. The block originates because you learned your lesson and you know it. And you don't want to move away from the connection that you learned this lesson about. Because your ego is like, nope, I really want that one guy, whatever gender they actually are. And then you're getting the 2 of Swords and the 10 of Cups, and I can't make that up. Because you got the 2 of Swords is where the block originated, and you got the 10 of Cups is what you need to release. You're standing still in the hopes that past spiritual fulfillment you thought you knew, because we always think we know we always think we know what's best for us, but we don't. You have to let that go. You have to make the decision to let go of this karmic relationship. Now, karmic, people will be like, oh, that means it's not my soulmate or whatever. That's not what I mean. It's a relationship that is teaching you a lesson, which is every relationship we have. Not just third party, whatever the hell readers bullshit thing we listen to. No. Karmic means I'm learning a lesson. I learned my lesson. My lesson is I love someone. I am ready. I am willing. I am able. They are not. So I can stay in the position of being ready, willing, and able with someone who's not, or I can let go and love myself and not try to date anyone or meet someone new, but just love myself because I'm whole when I choose myself. Oh, that's the minor thing you got to do today, Divine Feminine. No big deal. Good luck with that. I'm going to be busy today. Otherwise, I would say I'm available in my DMs, but I'm going to be in the studio all day, avoiding dealing with the messages from this reading until later tonight. Love that for me. Okay. Divine Masculine, what do you got to do? Bro, you got the addict card that you were in the light traits of before, and you're getting addiction in reverse. So this says codependent, obsession, possession, controlling, has the block and restraint. So since you are in the light attributes of the addict energy, you are well suited to face off this addiction card. You're also getting this paradise, happiness, expansion, joy, playfulness, oneness, enjoying each other in reverse. Hey, you know what? Your card fell on the floor. I have to pick it up and now I'm annoyed with you. Here's your block, right? Your happiness, your joy that you're seeking through the Divine Feminine, through a obsessive, codependent relationship. Hey, what did Divine Feminine need to do? She needed to learn her lesson, not focus on dating or meeting someone new or setting a date or planning a date or whatever, but just letting go of a karmic relationship. Well, Divine Masculine has to do the same thing. He has to let go of this codependent, obsessive, controlling behavior that he has been in, trying to control his happiness, which he's been putting outside of himself. And in so doing, destroyed his true happiness, which would be to be in allegiance with this energy, not in control of it. Divine Feminine. Bitch got that 10 of Cups, right? Okay. Well, Divine Masculine, 10 of Pentacles. I can't fucking make it up. And the fucking 8 of Swords, which we already saw in the sexual energy. So, Divine Masculine. You must stop sabotaging, protecting yourself from your material fulfillment by holding on to this addictive, controlling, obsessive, codependent energy with the feminine. The feminine inside of self being integrated and allowing your emotions and allowing that receptivity to love and being in a nurturing, caring, that part of yourself integrated inside of self is where your true joy is. Once you finally believe that, you will stop protecting yourself from this material fulfillment. So go at it. Okay, cool. And then finally, at 1 hour and 49 minutes and 55 seconds, we will finish off with the bottom of the deck. We have passion in reverse, which says insane chemistry, like each other equally, and having fun. And then we have the King of Pentacles. So, my feeling is, first of all, you need to release any of the anger or the taking things personally. That card that said, hey, this is happening for you, not to you. You have to release the like, oh, he did this to me. She did this to me. What an asshole. What a bitch. Like, whatever. Release that. It's happening for you, number one. And then you need to release any of that ego or the controlling behaviors that you both have. It comes from this place of fear. And there is this fixation on this ego fulfillment, material fulfillment here that needs to be released as well in order for you to be in a happy place, which I would love for you to both be in. So there you have it. Thank you very much for joining me today. This was a tough reading. Soak it in, take a day, think about the messages here. Don't make any drastic moves. I have a tendency after these readings to do something immediately because I'm an impulsive Leo sun, Leo moon, and a Pisces rising. So I just freaking do whatever. And I think a day, 24-hour period of just kind of processing the messages before we send messages to somebody, before we break up with somebody, before we do those things, just let it sink in a little bit and make sure that those messages are truly for you, because this is a collective reading and you have to take what resonates and of course leave what doesn't. But then on Friday, we will look at releasing and rebuilding. So it's just process this and then we'll come back to it basically, and we'll take a look where we're at on Friday and see what do we now have to release and how can we rebuild from that point. Thank you so much. I shall see you Friday morning. You can always find me on Instagram. I post content almost every day there too. So if you're missing me, go over there. There's also a ton of readings from the past you can tune into on my YouTube channel. And if I'm hitting a lot of points and you feel like it's really resonating, but there's some things that maybe seem like they're a little, more advanced, like maybe your person isn't at this point or you're not at this point, head back to my readings from a year ago. You might be at an earlier point in your journey. So that's something I do with other readers sometimes. And I encourage you to do that. I think that's everything. Thank you so much. I shall see you again on Friday and have a very lovely day today. Take care.